Andrew, you see, I think you inspire the Big One boys because you've got Lincoln and Marcel and they've got the goats.
They've got the goats. I've done goat yoga.
When the goats stand on you?
Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty cool.
What's that supposed to do for you?
I think just being in proximity of animals, and also when they stand on you, it forces you a little further into your posture. But I think just being in proximity to animals, it's kind of a nurturing environment, and that's what yoga is supposed to be.
I need to put that on my list of things to do. Goat yoga, everybody. Andrew, what a time to be here. I'm excited to see you. A big night tonight, and health and wellness is certainly on our minds.
Well, Essential One, our first product here, is our Today Special. And certainly, I didn't have a crystal ball. If I did have a crystal ball, I would have warned everyone. But there couldn't be a more perfect product for us to be talking about. Because when I go down the list, and I almost can't go anywhere, if I'm at the gym or anywhere, I can't go anywhere with folks asking me what I think and what I'm doing. And now it's basically a time, it's not a time for heroic measures. It's a time for us to really be doing the things we've already known we should do. Like when cold and flu season rolls around. We know what we ought to be doing, and it's those same sorts of things coming with heightened urgency now, because now it's not just about taking care of us, but unfortunately, dare I say, our government kind of dropped the ball. Right. I remember from an infectious disease class I took in school, good examples are you don't prepare, we're in Florida, you don't prepare for a hurricane when the wind is blowing and it's cloudy.
Right.
You want to do it in a sunny day, and you never recognize an epidemic as an epidemic. If it's an epidemic, it's too late.
Right.
So the time to act would have been months ago. So now it's up to all of us. And so now it's time for us to be responsible in terms of ourselves and also responsible in terms of others. And so we want to do the things that we're getting all the information, whether it's from the news channels or from our government. We really want to follow those recommendations, follow the recommendations of our doctors, and do our very best, because the key to something like this sustaining itself and surviving is if it's transmitted.
Yes.
And so to do our very best to reduce the transmission. And of course, we want to maintain a strong immune system, which means adequate sleep.
Yep.
I always talk about hydration, because keeping our mucous membranes healthy allows our immune system to work better. So always focus on hydration. It might mean you're relieving yourself, going to the bathroom more often, but that means you're adequately hydrating. That's an important thing. And as I always talk about, a healthy diet.
Yeah.
If there's ever a time for a healthy diet, sugar and things challenge your immune system. Make sure now's the time to try to eat a healthy diet. And that's, in terms of Essential One, this is the time when a multivitamin, multi-mineral, which just focuses on the nutrients that make our diets healthy and nutritious, that's the time when this becomes important. And I just want to let everyone, I know a lot of folks have asked me, am I going to be talking about our immune support product or immune factors?
Yes.
Will I be talking about separate vitamin C? In fact, I will not. We'll have them available. Okay. We will mention them for 1 or 2 minutes in each show. Okay. But I'm not going to feature them. I just don't think this is. I think if you know about our products, fine. They're great to order. But I think it just doesn't feel comfortable for me to be talking about those kinds of products at this time in detail. So they are available. We fortunately, we reacted to this quite some time ago. So the other thing, there's a lot of hysteria going on buying. Yep. Certainly, hopefully everybody, if I had toilet paper, that would be the best thing. The counter would go crazy.
We'd be sold out already, Andrew.
If I had toilet paper. But seriously, we'll give us, the immune factors is available. We're just not, it's not something to emphasize. But if I could pick the perfect product for what's going on now in terms of a dietary supplement, and it might sound like an overly simple approach, but now sometimes the simplest approach is the most common sense. Yeah. It's just making sure. I always say vitamin D is more important than vitamin C. Our Essential One has 2,000 IU. Many of us are deficient or insufficient in B12. Yep. We have 250 micrograms of B12, like a separate B12. So it's really a comprehensive multivitamin, multi-mineral. It's an opportunity to make sure your body has the nutrients it needs to do the work it's going to have to do. And again, adequate sleep, healthy diet, and really watch your habits in terms of touching things and then touching your face or nose, because those are the points of transmission. And it might seem silly to avoid some of the contact with others, but we really need to follow the guidelines. And the most important thing, Stay calm. What is it that I think it was Franklin Roosevelt said? The only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Yep.
Because fear and anxiety and worry, that is not the best friend of a strong, healthy immune system. So to the extent we can stay calm and just act calm and make the intelligent decisions, that's the best thing we could do in the face of something like this.
Well, I can't think of a better person to be here with tonight than Mr. Andrew Lessman, and I appreciate these words because it's just great guidance and wisdom, and I think something that, quite frankly, we all need to hear.
While I was saying that, I was just thinking that I think all these quotes from former presidents, I think it was John Kennedy had said, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you could do for your country.
Yeah.
Well, we hear a lot of criticism that maybe the government didn't have adequate testing, didn't do enough. Now it's up to us.
Right.
So now it really is up to us. To the extent we can modify our behaviors, to the extent we can follow the guidance we're receiving, that's an opportunity to transform the future of how this is going to transpire in our country.
We're going to take control certainly tonight and present you with some wonderful opportunities to really help give your body the things it needs. One of them, of course, the foundational product, which is Essential One, the world's finest multivitamin. It is available for selection now before midnight if you want to get in early. There's a 50, 100, 200, 400 capsule. I mentioned to Andrew and the team, I was thrilled to see this price, same low price, lowest price ever.
Best pricing ever, best formula ever. So it's a great opportunity to get the most comprehensive multivitamin, easy to swallow, will never upset your stomach, ultra-fine powder, 100% pure, no additives that burden your system any further, just the pure vitamins, minerals, carotenoids that you want and that you need. So the simplest approach, and there's no product like it in terms of quality, purity, potency, and efficacy.
It's the easiest decision to make, truly, in terms of a multivitamin.
And pennies a dose, despite the fact that it's like a separate vitamin D, a separate B12, a separate vitamin C, pennies a capsule.
So please be patient with us. We're already getting busy on it. It's the one day a year when Essential One is available. But Andrew, it's not the only Today Special we have.
We have a couple of other Today Specials. Because I have fewer visits, we've been doubling up the Today Specials a little bit. In this case, we're tripling up because we'll also have cranberry and we also have cinnamon. So we're going to follow next with, what is going to be next? Cranberry or cinnamon? Cranberry.
Cranberry.
So cranberry benefits. And cranberry, it's a product that I don't need to tell anyone what the benefits of cranberry are. And our cranberry product is about as well reviewed a cranberry product as you're going to see anywhere. It's 4.8 stars. I think it's 98% positive reviews. 90% of the reviews are 5-star reviews. So an incredible product. And it's, as we all know, urinary tract, bladder, kidneys in it, and especially if we adequately hydrate to support our immune system, one of the beneficiaries of that adequately hydrating is also our bladder, kidneys, urinary tract.
Right. Also,
when we adequately hydrate, our skin benefits. So there's all sorts of benefits to doing the right thing, and now's a good excuse to develop habits that will carry with us throughout the year, hopefully.
As you always say, Andrew, it's not side effects, it's side benefits, right?
Yes.
That's what you get with this, so many.
And with all our products, as I always say, the first thing you learn is that first, do no harm. So with all of our products, we want to make sure that not only first do no harm, unlike typical supplements, we don't even cause issues or problems. So you're not going to get an upset stomach, struggle to swallow them. All of our capsules, we make no tablets, all our soft capsules, easy to swallow capsules, ultra-fine powders that will never upset, not in general not to upset your stomach, but even if you have an exceptionally sensitive stomach, our products are designed to never upset your stomach.
So folks, that's going to be our cranberry. First time in 2 years it's been a Today Special. Larger size available for the first time ever as well at $720.
We've never done, I mean, to look at that 720 capsule supply at $99.90, you're basically just a little bit more than a dime a capsule. I think that ends up coming to about 13 or 14 cents a capsule.
Sure.
So an incredible value. And with our cranberry, some people take more, but I simply take one capsule a day. If I want to take a little bit extra, I'll take one in the morning and one in the evening. When I take my one, it's always in the evening because, and I'll talk about this later, but evening is a better time. That's when we tend to, our bladder is full and we don't empty it for an extended period of time.
So that's good. So we've covered already the Essential One, which is really our main Today Special. Then we have our cranberry, and then cinnamon is going to be our third and final option if you want to get it. Again, cinnamon available in the 720 caps as well for the first time. So you've got that larger size, bigger saving 90%. $90 if you want to go there. And cinnamon, when we talk about it, Andrew, this isn't regular cinnamon. This is properly standardized cinnamon.
Kind of as we approach our cranberry, it's an extract. And I often talk about this. The perfect example, you can buy, and say if we're talking about our eye product, you can buy dried bilberry.
Right.
And dried bilberry, you could get it for very cheap, a few dollars a pound, as a refuse from the fruit industry. If you want a bilberry extract, like the bilberry extract that we use in our product, it's hundreds of dollars a pound.
Yes.
So an extract, as with our cranberry, as with our cinnamon, it's specific. That cinnamon bark is then targeted for a specific beneficial compound in the case of a standardized extract. And you're taking that standardized extract for a specific reason. And that specific reason is tied to a specific compound or substance or molecule. So that's what the standardization is for. So our cinnamon bark extract is multiple times more expensive for us to purchase than if we were buying even the best cinnamon spice in the world. Interestingly enough, it still smells and tastes like cinnamon,
right?
But we don't target the flavor or taste. If I was making a cinnamon spice, I would be doing something different. It would taste even better. But this is really specifically for blood sugar balance. This is really insulin metabolism support. This is something that, again, the reviews on this product are almost perfect reviews. So you're looking at a product that delivers in a way that you'll be thrilled when you get it home. I'm
also thrilled to tell you there's a bonus buy tonight. If you buy 2 of the 360 caps, so maybe the 360 of the cinnamon and then the cranberry, you save $10. Go for the 720, save 20.
The bonus buy. So if you buy one of each, of either the 360 or the 720, I think on the 720 you save $20.
Indeed.
And I think on the 360 you save $10. So you're basically saving 10. That price I told you before at 13 or 14 cents, if you're getting a bottle of each of the large,
even better.
Basically it goes down to just over a dime a capsule of the cinnamon, a dime a capsule of cranberry. And the two of them, typically I just take 1 capsule a day.
Right.
So that's, I would think, for the majority of those of you watching, that's all you need is 1 capsule a day. So you're talking about an almost perfectly reviewed cinnamon bark extract product for blood sugar balance, an almost perfectly reviewed cranberry product for our urinary tract for a little more than a dime a capsule. You'd have to go back to when I was a little kid, and in a phone booth you could drop in a dime and make a phone call. So that's, and back at that time, you know, even at that time, a dime wasn't much.
Right.
So to think that, and it's not that these aren't much, but they're not very expensive. So really affordable in those large sizes. And we've never done those sizes before, ever.
And just quickly to let you know, berberine is also available, Andrew. Not a presentation tonight, but a great opportunity.
That's a product that I was just talking to a friend of mine, Daniel Lehman, and we were talking about the benefits of berberine. Berberine, in terms of blood sugar balance and helping our body manage insulin, manage blood sugar, berberine is right up there with cinnamon, right alongside it. Plus, berberine has the added benefit, no side effects, just additional benefits, also helps with lipid balance. It also helps with our body's management of our total and LDL, our bad cholesterol. So berberine is but it's different. Unlike cinnamon, which is just 1 simple capsule a day or 2 if you like, with berberine, it's 1 or 2 capsules with each meal. To truly get the benefits of berberine, it's going to be 1 or 2 capsules with each meal. Really pretty color, too.
You can see this beautiful yellow that you've got there. Again, all natural, all real. No artificial colors ever in Andrew's products. So there's a lot of ground to cover tonight.
No colors at all.
Ever.
No, even we have a vitamin C drink that we're working on. I didn't think this was the right time to bring it out, but we're going to be bringing out a vitamin C drink in the future. And they're all beautiful colors, but they're beautiful colors because we include the benefits of the anthocyanins, the protective compounds that are present in berries. So there's ways to make natural products beautiful using Mother Nature's gifts.
And that's why we love to see and look at everything that Andrew's doing. So many new things coming out this year. In fact, in this hour, Andrew, we've got a new product that I've never presented before with you.
Yeah, we'll be talking about theanine, and theanine is another timely product. Theanine is a product, I don't know if we can get the item number up.
Yeah.
But theanine is a product that, it's an amino acid. But it's not an amino acid that's a structural component in protein. It's an amino acid that's uniquely found in green tea. And when I discovered theanine, I discovered why. The caffeine in green tea never bothered me, but the caffeine in coffee did.
Sure.
It's the theanine that acts as a counterbalance, a counterpoint to the caffeine in coffee. So theanine, it's an amino acid that can pass through the blood-brain barrier, has access to our brain, and it exerts a soothing, relaxing effect, but not a soothing, relaxing effect sleepy, a soothing, relaxing effect with enhanced focus and enhanced attention, concentration. So theanine is amazing. So if you're stressing a little right now,
oh boy,
but you don't want to knock yourself out, theanine is absolutely just a wonderful, simple, straightforward, again, a tool provided by Mother Nature.
I'm excited to learn more.
So we'll talk about that later, but a very, very exciting new ingredient. It's something that we've been looking at for a few years, but as you know, it takes us a while to bring products to you. We're very patient about the process of doing the R&D and making sure we get the product to you in its best, pure fashion.
Well, Andrew, we're going to head over this way.
Great.
Because every good day starts with a great breakfast.
Yes.
Oatmeal, oat bran, organic, gluten-free. We're going to hear about the importance of that and how difficult that is to achieve. Cholesterol lowering as well.
And a lot of us, Muriel's yummy turkey meatballs.
Yeah, I saw you eyeing that up.
I'm taking those back with me. But oatmeal is something, and especially now, this can get shipped to your house. It's the grocery stores. I was out in California before I came in, and the grocery stores were
packed.
No, the shelves were bare. Like, what is it? Mother Hubbard?
Yes.
Her cupboards were bare.
Yes.
So, but our oatmeal or oat bran, they're both remarkable foods on their own in terms of cholesterol reduction, in terms of heart health, in terms of a great source of fiber. They're complete protein as well. Oats are probably the best grain in terms of protein content. But ours, as great as oatmeal and oat bran are for heart health and cholesterol reduction, our oatmeal and oat bran is a whole nother level. It's not a little bit better. It literally multiplies the benefits. I would say it's probably 5 times more effective in terms of cholesterol reduction than regular oatmeal or regular oat bran. And that's because of the plant sterols we add, which also improves the texture, which also improves the flavor. Also, ours are so fresh because we're not some huge oatmeal and oat bran company. Ours are organic and gluten-free, which are, when we first started making that, we had to have those specially made for us because organic and gluten-free oats didn't exist. So again, it's a product unlike any other oat product you'll find, and no matter the size, it's all shipped to you for free.
And it is March special savings, so we're excited about that. You're getting special savings for the month of March. Fabulous pricing. If you just want to try it, there's 30 servings all the way through to 180 servings.
Yeah, Muriel would have loved to have been here because she wrote the little oatmeal cookbook.
Which is right
and,
here.
And there's so many great recipes. But again, she's watching the puppies. But the oatmeal is something that I've always enjoyed ever since I was a kid. And oatmeal is something that the more you read about it, the more you'll want to incorporate it into your diet. And both oatmeal and oat bran, our oatmeal and oat bran, if all you do is have a bowl in the morning, it's something that you can expect cholesterol reduction in the neighborhood of, I would say, at least 10%. If you incorporate it in some of the other foods later in the day, oftentimes if I make a smoothie, I take a quarter cup of our oat bran or quarter cup of our oatmeal, I just put it in the blender with the smoothie. All it does is impart better texture because our oats they're almost sweet and neutral tasting. So if you intelligently utilize these, the cholesterol lowering benefits, the heart health, the fiber in terms of regularity, the list of benefits is extremely long.
If you'd like to give it a go, everything, remember, has a 30-day return policy. We want you to sample this in the comfort and convenience of your own home. I love the oat bran. I know Andrew loves the oatmeal as well. Both are fabulous. And in this moment in time, to be able to get this food delivered to your door is great. To be honest with you, it's not just for breakfast. It's anytime you fancy a little snack because it's so nutritious. It's so healthy for you. It's so good for you. Gluten-free, which is a big, big deal. Like when we talk about Andrew's teas or Choco Nouveau or oatmeal oat bran, Andrew always go to the very best. That's why freshness, quality is there. It's unsurpassed, really, Andrew.
Well, we kind of have an advantage when it comes to oats, because most folks making oats are dealing in enormous quantities of oats.
Right.
For us, we do, and of course our oats being organic and gluten-free, they're unique, so they're hard to get even in large quantities. So we make very small quantities, very small lots, extremely fresh, and that's why it's surprising to think, I mean, you could look at the reviews on this product, it's 4.7 stars.
Beloved.
To think that someone is going to rate an oat product almost perfect 5 stars, that it just is a testament to when you go about treating oats like they're special and not like they're a commodity. And I think to most companies offering oats, they're just a commodity. And to us, they're very, very special. They're organic and gluten-free. The plant sterols we add are even more expensive than the oats. So we end up with a remarkable product, not just in terms of flavor and texture, but also an incredible product in terms of heart health. There's no other oat product in the world that can compete with us, compare with us in terms of the cholesterol lowering and heart health benefits.
So there's oatmeal and also oat bran, and I even, dare I say, love the fact that we're delivering food direct to your door. There's a lot of us that don't even want to go to the supermarket right now for a variety of reasons, so it's nice to have this kind of convenience. If you want to get the oat bran, same fabulous pricing for March, that March special savings. The 180 servings saves you $65 if you're ordering. We're extremely busy. A lot of you ordering Essential One, Andrew's multivitamin, the cinnamon and the cranberry. They're the 3 today's specials. They officially launch at midnight, and I'll kind of keep you updated as we go along, but we are about to hit nearly 9,000 pre-selected. So if you know that you want Essential One or cinnamon and cranberry, of course, if you want to beat the rush, now's a great time to be able to get in. Andrew, final words on oatmeal and oat bran?
Just that if oat bran or oatmeal are something that you've gotten benefits before in terms of heart health and cholesterol reduction, then you should try this, because you'll be thrilled with how much more effective this product is. And for good reason. The ingredient we add is an FDA Food and Drug Administration approved ingredient to lower total cholesterol and LDL cholesterol and help to reduce your risk of heart disease. You could say that about oats, but you could also say that about the ingredient we enhance our oats with.
And we're going to head over this way to the other side of the studio for our next item. Many people asking about, Andrew, is it thiamine? Am I saying it right?
Theanine.
Theanine.
Theanine. It's fascinating. It's an amino acid, but it's an amino acid that is not, it's not present in the protein in our bodies. So it's not a structural amino acid. An amino acid are these molecules that have an amino group, an amine group, and a carboxylic acid group. That's why they're called amino acids. And then it's the R group, the other section of it, that defines and identifies that unique amino acid. But theanine is this unique amino acid that has this calming, relaxing effect with a simultaneous enhancement of focus, attention, concentration. It's an amazing ingredient.
There's a lot of people, Andrew, who have pre-ordered it already.
For me, what I use theanine for is, before I exercise, I know if I do like an espresso or something like that, it will, if I'm looking to do a PR or something, it will enhance my performance. But also, coffee makes me horribly uncomfortable. If I take a capsule of theanine at the same time, the caffeine is not a problem. Really? Yeah. Okay, we'll talk about it later.
We're only about 15 minutes away from it, so for those wanting it, I promise we'll get there, but we have to talk about ALA, alpha-lipoic acid, a big March special.
And this is a monthly special in March, and if we can, maybe as on a bottom graphic, if we can get the, if we have the item number for glutathione. I'm not sure if we do or we have it available.
That's the other new one, isn't it?
Yeah, because one of the major reasons we take alpha-lipoic acid is because of its impact on glutathione levels, that it supports and promotes the production of glutathione. And alpha-lipoic acid, most importantly, is referred to as the universal antioxidant.
Yes.
What makes alpha-lipoic acid absolutely unique, and you could go down the list of antioxidants and protective compounds in your body, and what makes alpha-lipoic acid so unique is the fact that it doesn't have to choose what environments and what areas it could work in and deliver its benefits in. Our body is pretty much divided into 2 kinds of environments. The cells in our body, all the tissues in our body. It's an aqueous environment, a water-based environment. And then a fatty environment, a lipid-based environment. Alpha-lipoic acid has the unique ability to deliver its benefits and go to work in both an aqueous environment and a lipid-based environment. Say, for instance, vitamin E, that's lipid-based.
Right.
Vitamin C, aqueous, water-based. CoQ10, lipid-based. So they all have to make a choice. Alpha-lipoic acid doesn't. And what's wonderful about alpha-lipoic acid, it can pass through the blood-brain barrier, deliver its benefits to the brain, but it uniquely can deliver those benefits to the lipid-based parts of a cell, like the cell membranes, or the aqueous environments within our cells in the cytosol. So it's truly a remarkable ingredient. When we first introduced alpha-lipoic acid, I thought we had the best source in the world. But then I found a source that had levels of purity that were even superior to our great source. And unfortunately, it's significantly more expensive, but it's the only source of alpha lipoic acid you'd want to use. Unfortunately, I'd say 99% of the alpha lipoic acid on the market is from a source that's not close to the purity of what we offer here.
Well, our savings for the month of March are really significant, and we're going to kind of go
Today's special pricing, basically.
Through this and through our next couple items, $79.90 saves you $50 if you go for the largest sizing. That's what the pricing normally is. Here's what it is for the month of March. And Andrew, you just said it, but it is, I've always seen it as the sister product to CoQ10.
I was just going to say that. Often folks refer to as the perfect partner to CoQ10, a sister product to CoQ10. CoQ10's real role, without CoQ10, we can't produce energy. So CoQ10's real role is the transport of electrons. So it has this ability to capture electrons, move them, transport them. What that also provides to CoQ10, CoQ10 can protect us because it's oftentimes these free electrons that could cause damage to a cell. So CoQ10 both moves electrons to allow us to produce energy, but CoQ10 also captures electrons and acts as an electron scavenger, a free radical scavenger. Alpha lipoic acid has that same role in terms of being a free radical scavenger and a protective compound. But unlike CoQ10, which only functions in a lipid-based environment, alpha lipoic acid could function both in aqueous environment and a lipid-based environment. And for me, where alpha lipoic acid is often its very best is for a lot of us, we talked about cinnamon earlier, we talked about blood sugar balance and blood sugar control. I look at alpha lipoic acid as being one of those ingredients that if we have challenges related to blood sugar, that alpha lipoic acid's protective role, supportive role is something that's a great targeted ingredient for us to consume.
Thank you for all of your orders and your calls. Stay right there in the ordering process. We're going to go to our little seated area. Many folks wanting it. We really aren't spending much time here, but immune factors and vitamin C.
I've warned everyone that here that it's only going to be 2 minutes. And the 2 minutes, I'm really going to spend the 2 minutes saying that at this time, you see a lot of folks really promoting heavily immune support products and vitamin C and things like that. And as I've said before, it's past the time for heroic measures.
Right.
What we need to do is just be intelligent about how we're living and the decisions we're making at home, the decisions we're encouraging our loved ones, the decisions we're making in terms of just how we live our life.
Yes.
It's just a short period of time in which we need to make sacrifices, and the benefits will be very, very long-term for all of us. As I said before, the government might have early on dropped the ball on this a little bit, but that means it's up to all of us. That we all have to make decisions that are in the best interests of ourselves and our society. It's more than just us. So in terms of our Immune Factors product, this is literally just going to be a minute, and we're talking, it's, of course, it's vitamin C, B complex, echinacea golden seal, a mushroom complex, astragalus. So it has ingredients that have been tried and tested over the years, but we're not going to feature it. This is going to be it. So suffice to say, we have an abundant supply available.
Yes.
So you don't have to worry about it going out of stock. You don't have to order all sorts of bottles of it. We're fine, and we're not going to feature it. So don't worry about it being featured and running out the doors.
It's always been, and it always has been, a go-to this time of year, cold and flu season, certainly for a natural, powerful tool. Botanicals, a great way to kind of support your body, but it is available for you if you'd like it.
But no dietary supplement it's just not where we should put our attention. As I said before, if people ask me what to do in terms of dietary supplements and they all expect me to give them some fancy recommendations on all sorts of interesting ingredients and whatnot, and what I say is just make sure you're taking a good multivitamin, and then focus on your sleep, focus on hydration, focus on your diet above all, and focus on the things you're doing in your lifestyle. Those are the keys, and anyone who's telling you that a supplement should be moved to the top of the list, it's not the case.
So don't forget Immune and vitamin C. Thank you for all of your orders.
Yep. And just our vitamin C very quickly here. Again, it's about a dime a capsule. It's 500 milligrams of vitamin C. What makes ours unique is that it's non-acidic. It will never upset your stomach. It's also 500 milligrams. You don't want to ever take more than, I don't care how much you think vitamin C is going to be the saving grace for you. It's not the case, but 500 milligrams is what you want to take at one time. A lot of people are powering down thousands of milligrams at a time. The nature of how vitamin C is absorbed, if you provide too much at one time, you're just going to ensure an upset stomach, diarrhea, and it's not going to be well absorbed. You're wasting your money. So you want your vitamin C to be taken no more than 500 milligrams at a time and spaced out. Because once your vitamin C status gets healthy and better, the more you take, the more you don't absorb. So again, I guess I sound like someone who doesn't want to see you taking lots of his vitamins, but you just want to be sensible in their use. And again, none of these things are magical.
No.
You know, immune products that are going to ensure makes your immune system invulnerable. The key is making sure we make good decisions, being responsible, following the guidance we're getting from those physicians we'll see on television and others that we could rely on.
Andrew, you've always said that. As we head over to Fibermucil, you've always said that.
And my apologies that I know people who've seen me have said, I'm sure you're going to be spending a lot of time talking about immune factors and vitamin C, and my apologies, I just don't think it's the right time to do so. We will make sure we have it available for everyone who wants it, but that's, we probably won't even talk about it again. If I do, maybe tomorrow evening, I'll mention it for 2 minutes and that's it.
No, we all respect that. There is so many of us that come to Andrew, watch Andrew's show to get the information, which is what Andrew's all about, giving you the right information so we can make our own educated decisions.
Right. I think it's not appropriate for anyone to be taking advantage of this situation. I think it's incumbent upon all of us to encourage everyone to stay calm, because you know what's great for your immune system? Being calm and tranquil, relax, meditate. Stress, anxiety, worry, talk about the enemy of a healthy immune system. So again, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. So just stay calm, make calm, rational decisions, and we'll all be fine.
Well, talking of things that can really cause irrational decisions is a lack of fiber. When you don't have enough fiber in your diet, things are not so good.
And well, the reason why I decided to add this at the last minute to this hour, a lot of folks I know who are deciding to sort of self-isolate or quarantine, whatever it might be, and they don't have a lot of, say, fresh produce and things like that that they would normally eat, they are like, thank goodness for Fibermucil. Because when we start changing our diet, oftentimes, one of the most uncomfortable things will be all of a sudden our regularity changes. I often say this, that when I forget a bottle or run out of a bottle in my vitamin bag when I'm traveling, even if it's CoQ10 and it's just a day or two, okay, I'll survive a day or two without CoQ10. If it's Fibermucil, even though I eat an abundance of fiber during the day, and I just have 1 or 2 capsules with each meal of Fibermucil, it's just enough to make a tremendous, wonderful difference. And for all of you who know this product and treasure your regularity, it's a product that is as powerful as it is gentle. And unlike the typical fiber products you see, these manufactured beverages that are synthetic fiber, this is real natural fiber, ultrafine, like all my products. A small capsule, as you can see here, a small capsule, and an ultrafine powder in that capsule. It's like dust. Yeah. And that ensures you that it won't upset your stomach, that it's ready to do its work. In terms of absorption, obviously fiber isn't absorbed, but fiber can only do what it's supposed to do if it mixes with the contents of what you're eating, if it absorbs moisture, and then it moves through your digestive system and it plays its role in allowing the musculature of your digestive system to do its healthy work, to support the work of peristalsis, and what do they call it, the migrating motor complex. These are all things that our digestive system requires fiber to function at its very best.
If you'd like to order the Fibermucil, it is with our extra special savings.
Plus what fiber also does in terms of our immune system, this fiber in particular, it's the food for our microbiome. It's the food for our probiotics. So a wonderful thing to do now is to make sure to stop eating those foods that might be rich in sugar and eating those foods that are richer in fiber, because those foods that are richer in fiber feed a healthy microbiome, and a healthy microbiome is part of a healthy immune system.
You go ahead and get the 1,000 caps. You'll save the most amount of money for sure.
Less than 9 cents a capsule.
It's nothing. I mean, really, for the value, for the quality that you're getting. And most people don't like their fiber products. If you've ever had a fiber product in the past, you hate it.
Well, fiber is the typical product that we love to hate. And again, our fiber this is something that I've been making vitamins now for 41 years. I started my company, and when it comes to fiber, my original products, thank goodness the internet didn't exist back then, because the reviews would not be something I'd want to be looking at today. But we've always had a care center at my company. You could call in and give us your feedback, your suggestions, and I got a lot of feedback and suggestions about my fiber product, and we improved it. Originally, it was a drink that wasn't very pleasant. It was like eating, I guess, sawdust.
Right.
Now we're able to fit it into a capsule with no additives, 100% pure, and it delivers the benefits that we all seek without gas, without discomfort, without bloating, and just the wonderful benefits of fiber that we all, because of the way we tend to eat in this country, most of us at least, not all of us, some of us eat a wonderful fiber-rich diet.
Yeah.
Most of us do not, so this is an important product.
It can have such a knock-on effect, though. You know, if you're not getting enough fiber, it can affect every part of your life. So try Andrew's Fiber Mucil. We know you're going to love it. The reviews are glowing, which is astonishing, as we say, on a fiber product. Only about 20 minutes away from our today's special official launches. We've got new products coming in this hour as well. Final moments here?
No, I think we've said enough about Fiber Mucil. Again, it's the key to regularity, and it hopefully is a good reminder. I'm someone who every day I like to eat foods like the beans, nuts, seeds, legumes. I eat a very fiber-rich diet. Nonetheless, I still love my capsule or two with each meal of Fiber Mucil. And this we haven't spoken about for a while.
I'm so pleased it's in the show.
This is, again, and it all kind of ties in. When we think in terms of a healthy immune system, one of the things I talk about all the time is that when we consume sugar, we think about sugar, we think about certain consequences of sugar, but we don't think about sugar as kind of being a little bit of an assault on our immune system.
Right.
So if we want to maintain a healthy immune system, it's best to avoid a diet that's too rich in sugar. And our natural stevia-based sweetener, and our stevia is, unlike the typical sweeteners, the stevia products that have a strange taste and can be synthetic, ours is natural, ours is non-GMO, and instead of like the typical stevias or any sweetener on the market, all of them that I've seen, they all contain sugar. Even if they're labeled as 0 calories, they all contain about 1 gram of sugar. Instead of using sugar, we have 1 gram of the amino acid glycine, which also happens to be wonderfully sweet. So our stevia, it delivers the wonderful taste of the natural stevia plant without that bitterness, without that flavor that had me not liking any of the stevia sweeteners on the market. So if you want a product that delivers all the goodness of stevia without the unpleasant aftertaste, then our sucrose is what you should be trying. And of course, it's the only sweetener, even the artificial sweeteners, as powerful as they are, they all contain sugar.
Right.
They all contain sugar. I mean, we could just look at the labels. Ours does not. But if you look at, say, Sweet and Low, first ingredient is nutritive dextrose, sugar.
Right.
Saccharin, then cream of tartar and calcium silicate and anti-caking agents. Enjoy pink dextrose, then saccharin. Equal dextrose with maltodextrin. Dextrose with maltodextrin. Sotruvia, erythritol, and alcohol sugar. So we go down the list, and ours is Swerve, erythritol, oligosaccharides, and natural flavors. I mean, ours just has our non-GMO proprietary stevia leaf extract, and then glycine, the amino acid, which glycine also has benefits. It helps to support healthy blood sugar balance. So not only do we not contain sugar, unlike all the other products, we provide an amino acid that helps you support your body's efforts to maintain a healthy blood sugar balance.
Andrew, you're being very modest here. This was over a decade in the making. Like, this was a lot of hard work.
Well, this was decades in the making. Yeah, this was a tremendous amount of hard work, and today, incredible pricing. We haven't talked about this for probably about 6 or 9 months.
No.
And it's a little bit more than a dime a packet. For most folks, they'll find our packets to be very powerful, so I would inch up on it. I would use probably half a packet, and that might be sufficient. So literally, when you use it, it becomes about a nickel a packet. And for some people, that's even too much. So I'd rather have too much in a packet, and you get an exceptional value, than too little.
If you use any type of sweetener at all, please try this. It's delicious. There's no nasty aftertaste. It's so much of a better product for you, and there's nothing else on the market like it. It's completely unique. Most folks don't even know Andrew made this. That's the thing, because it's hardly ever on TV.
I'm not on TV a lot. So it's moderation. I think I'd rather have, what do they say, absence makes the heart grow fonder, than it's like, not him again.
Never.
So no, trust me, I'm sure that could happen. But we don't have that much airtime, so certain products we don't have enough time to feature. But we're trying to be more and more creative, creating video content and things that maybe we run in the overnights and things like that. So we provide, and I always like, when I do it, I always like to provide information. And I think with this product, the information is that most of us, and oftentimes for very serious health reasons, we are avoiding the intake of sugar. And most of us don't realize that when we're taking in any of those other sweeteners, the most popular sweeteners of all, you're getting about 1 gram of sugar with each of them. So you trade 4 grams of a typical sugar packet for 1 gram. With mine, there's no sugar, and there's an amino acid that helps you with your sugar. And of course, you get natural stevia, and it's non-GMO.
0 carbs, 0 calories, all the things you want it to be, it is.
And it's better tasting.
Right.
And it's just significantly better tasting than anything else you're going to find on the market.
There's no compromise. Again, decades in the making. Andrew and the team cracked the code with this. Fabulous product. A lot of us love our sweeteners in some form or another. But you know, if you've tried some of the stevia ones in the past, there's like a strange taste to it. This is phenomenal. So I cannot recommend it enough. When friends or family members come over, my mother-in-law, Linda, she always has a sweetener when we make her a tea or a drink. This is what she now has. I've converted her to Sucrest, so she loves it. Again, pricing special because Andrew's here. Whenever you see Andrew live, you're gonna get the extra special savings, plus you're gonna get the free shipping and handling. Maybe you wanna try it, go for that $250. That's a good sweet spot, no pun intended. Remember what Andrew said as well, you get enough in there. Most folks will only have half a packet, which I'd rather than having to tear open multiple ones to get the desired flavor and taste. But you'll love the way it adds flavor, but you'll love the fact that 0 carbs, 0 calories, no nasty aftertaste. It's better for you. We're counting down. I can tell you throughout this entire hour so far, there's been nearly 1,000 people ordering at any one point. I know many of you ordering Essential One and Cranberry and Cinnamon. Andrew, it is going to be a busy evening this evening.
I think that, well, we all should have our health in focus. And I think certain times there are things that might provide, you know, it's always good to try to find a silver lining. So if this makes us more aware, so that in the future during cold and flu season, we know what to do. Yes. So if it helps us with our habits, if it makes us more aware of the fact that focusing on our sleep and focusing on hydration and focusing on our diet, pays dividends in terms of our immune system and our health and well-being, then it's always my style to try to find a silver lining in, you know, come what may. So this is certainly a difficult time. So hopefully the things we learn from this will reflect better in the future for us.
We're going to head over this way to something we've been talking about throughout the hour, brand new. You're seeing it first right now on HSN. We're going to talk about a lot of things, including stress, Andrew. Now, you started to tell me about the green, was it green tea?
Well, green tea is really the only source of theanine. Theanine. The only true source of theanine. And theanine is an amino acid. I tried to explain it before what an amino acid is.
Right.
And this is that in the blue on this little chart, if I move this, let's see.
Oh, squeaky.
That's a good chart. It's a good sound.
Wow.
It wasn't a chalkboard, thankfully. But that's the amino group there, that NH2. And the COOH, that's a carboxylic acid group. So that amine and that carboxylic acid, that's an amino acid.
Okay.
And this would be the R group in an amino acid. And in, say, glycine, the simplest amino acid, the R group is just a hydrogen.
Okay.
But in this one, as you can see, it's a fairly complex molecule. There's 3 carbon atoms and then a nitrogen, a carbon, so and a double bonded oxygen there. So it's fairly complex. But that is an amino acid that, unlike all the other couple of dozen amino acids, which are constituents of protein that make up a muscle protein, that make up enzymes in our body, that make up important proteins like hemoglobin in our body, or insulin is a protein. So those contain the couple of dozen amino acids that are the naturally occurring amino acids, both essential and non-essential. Theanine is not present in any of those roles, but theanine is an amino acid and it's present in green tea. And I didn't understand the role of theanine. I discovered it a couple of decades ago, and it's something that validated something I already knew experientially, that I'm someone, if I drank if before I came on air here, I drank a small espresso,
Yes.
you would think I lost my mind. But if I drank a quart of green tea, which has much more caffeine than that little espresso, you wouldn't notice a thing.
What's the difference?
You might even think I was more focused. And the difference is theanine. So I'm someone who I could drink green tea and be relaxed. I can't drink caffeine from coffee and be relaxed.
How interesting.
And theanine is something that, theanine is this calming, relaxing amino acid. Obviously, in order to deliver those benefits, you presume it passes through what's called the blood-brain barrier, which is a circulatory barrier that limits the molecules that are going to have access to our brain. Our brain, that's one of the problems with our brain. Our brain is isolated. It's isolated because we want to protect it. When we get older, that could be a problem, because one of the most important things for brain health is getting things to it, nutrients and oxygen. But theanine is a molecule that has easy access to the brain, and it delivers these calming, relaxing, soothing effect. But typically when we deliver that, it's something that's sort of a precursor, although a lot of people like to take this before they go to sleep, but we think it's something that makes us sleepy. Theanine is just the opposite. And even there's been brainwave studies that look at theanine where it has that sort of effect of that meditative effect where not only is it soothing and relaxing, but at the same time, it's intensely focusing. So it improves concentration and attention while also relaxing at the same time. It's a brand new product.
It is.
And again, it's sort of, I guess, timely. A lot of us probably need a little bit of help finding something soothing, but not something that's going to knock us out, because we still need to pay attention.
Right.
And that's kind of what I was saying before, that it's up to all of us to try to stay calm, but focus on what's important. And if we don't stay calm, worry is not the best friend of our immune system. So we want to be able to do the things we need to do, focus on what we need to focus on, but stay calm. And staying calm, I mean, there's all sorts of research and clinical studies that show that stress, anxiety, worry is not the friend of our immune system function. Objective clinical studies that demonstrate that. So, and again, we probably all know it experientially, that we become more vulnerable when we worry too much, and then it doesn't affect our sleep well. So theanine is just a wonderful, fascinating ingredient that delivers a soothing, relaxing effect. A lot of folks love it if they're studying for exams, because it relaxes you, it calms you, but it also increases attention and focus. Something great for me, as I said, that before I go if I want to set a new PR on a run or a bike ride, whenever I go do my things, I always time my favorite rides or my favorite runs. And if I want to break my record, I might do a little shot of espresso, even though that's going to make me crazy. But a capsule of theanine with that, and it's nothing at all. It's comfortable. It's like the caffeine from green tea for me.
Well, what won't cause you any stress is the pricing. I was really thrilled at how affordable this is. There are 3 sizes, a 60 capsule, a 180 or a 360. It's funny, as Andrew's talking about it, I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna get some of this. For many of us, stress is an issue, and you know how that can compromise us in the way we feel, in the way we live our everyday life, or maybe it's a moment in time, like exams, as Andrew mentioned as well, for relaxation, for stress, to give you better focus, I suppose, Andrew.
Yep, and I just thought I'd read some of the science here, because this is not something I'm making up. It's been well known for quite some time. Ever since I discovered those properties and understood from green tea, I've used theanine ever since. And it was one of those things that I wasn't sure until I had the experience of others. I wasn't sure I was going to make it available as a product, but clearly it's a wonderful product, and I think you'll love the experience of it. But this is from the Asian Pacific Journal of Tropical Biomedicine. L-theanine, and it needs to be the L form. It's a stereoisomer. A non-essential bioactive amino acid is very much beneficial to sustain in the stressful environment. You know this is from an Asian publication, and I don't mean this in a negative way, because you could tell that English is a second language, that this English is not their first language. L-theanine increases dopamine and serotonin production in the brain and induces relaxation through the enhancement of alpha wave activity in the brain. From the Canadian Journal of Physiology and Pharmacology, theanine diminishes the stress response, reducing heart rate, blood pressure, cortisol, and perceived stress and anxiety. Theanine also alters the neural indices of relaxation, such as augmentation of alpha brainwaves, meaning that they monitor brain function while someone has used theanine. Alternative and complementary therapies. Research with human volunteers has affirmed that L-theanine creates a sense of relaxation approximately 30 to 40 minutes after oral ingestion.
Wow.
Not a drug, not a medicine. Don't have to worry about overdosing on it. This amino acid stimulates production of alpha brain waves directly, creating a state of deep relaxation and mental alertness.
But no drowsiness.
Yeah, but that's what's sort of interesting. Deep relaxation with mental alertness, such as is often achieved via meditation. L-theanine constitutes between 1 and 2% of the dry weight of tea leaves, is the predominant amino acid component in tea, and exists only in the free non-protein form. So it's not, most amino acids in nature are never free amino acids. They exist as a constituent of protein. Not the case with theanine. High-grade matcha green tea, which is one of the most expensive types of green tea, has the greatest percentage of L-theanine. Muriel and I love matcha tea. I know when I say that, I'm now going to be forced to have to bring our matcha tea.
Where's yours, Andrew?
We have great matcha tea at home. But ours is, it's the ceremonial matcha green tea. It's really wonderful, really lovely. Tea has earned a popular reputation for having less caffeine effect than coffee. I'm the perfect example of that. I could drink a liter of green tea, no problem, no caffeine issues at all. I have a tiny espresso, I'm bouncing off the walls. Because the L-theanine in the tea actually lessens the stimulant effect of caffeine on the human nervous system. As a result, tea, especially green tea, has gained in popularity as a beverage that has a calming, relaxing effect. In fact, I thought of making a version of our sucrese with L-theanine, because so many folks, when they have their coffee, they love drinking their coffee, but their coffee has them bouncing off the wall a little bit. And so I thought, what a perfect counterpoint by creating a sort of that green tea effect, that soothing, relaxing green tea effect when you have the caffeine from coffee. But again, for any time, I mean, I think our lives are, throughout the year, and it's been like this for years, it seems like there's one issue or one crisis after another. That's why I refuse to watch the news. I pay attention and I read what I need to read to make sure that I'm aware and doing what I need to do. But if you constantly dose yourself, immerse yourself in the news, I don't care how relaxed you are, what your capacity is for meditation, it's going to stress you. It just is. So it's nice to have a tool that perhaps is a counterpoint to the immersion in stress. And it was funny, I was talking to Daniel Amen the other day about this, and he's I guess a neuropsychiatrist, and I was talking to Daniel, and he said, the problem is that especially when you look at websites and things, the things that gets our clicks, the things that gets us to click on news stories are negative news stories. And it's just kind of the human brain and the human bias. So and when we click, that makes money out on the internet for these folks. So there's an economic interest, as he focuses on the brain, there's an economic interest for the internet to cause brain damage for us. Oh my God. So unfortunately. And it's, in terms of theanine, theanine is just an affordable, simple tool, and I mean incredibly affordable. At 360 capsules apply is $49.90. So if you do the math, what does that come to? About 13 cents a capsule. And you don't need to take multiple capsules. As you saw in the research, they talked about 200 milligrams. That is exactly what we deliver in this product, is 200 milligrams.
Thank you for your calls. You're the first in America to see it. It's launching here for the first time. We're going to head over this way. I know we're kind of T-minus 6 or 7 minutes until our today's specials. It is the day, Essential One, the one that everybody waits for. Essential One, cranberry and cinnamon. But I'm thrilled we're squeezing this in, because this is on my bedside, Andrew.
Yeah, we only have a couple of minutes for this, and then a couple of minutes we'll talk about phosphatidylserine. So our nighttime product, it's just a natural botanical product. It contains a little bit of melatonin. I think it's a mistake to rely solely on melatonin if it's at very high levels. If melatonin alone works for you, that's great. But a lot of times what happens is we start increasing the dose to the point where we're taking 12 milligrams or more of melatonin. And what that ends up doing is, unfortunately, it shuts down our own natural production of melatonin. And we don't want to, with a product like this, to bypass our natural sleep processes. If anything, We want this to soothe and relax us so our natural sleep process works its very best. This is not supposed to hijack or deprive you of your natural sleep process. It's really intended to support it, enhance it, and let you put yourself back to sleep the way we used to do when we were kids.
When I can't switch off and there's a lot on my mind, this is what I reach for. There's one big thing in the morning. People always ask me, is there an after effect? Is there like a morning hangover? And the answer is absolutely no. If you just need a little extra help disconnecting at night, this is a fabulous way to do it. 60 through 360 caps are available. Very affordable and a wonderful product.
And for me, thankfully, I rarely need to use this, but this evening will be an example of one of those evenings because this is 3 hours different time zone for me.
Yes.
And I'll get off air at about 1 o'clock and I'll be excited when I get off air because I'm excited doing these shows. And so when I try to go to bed at 2 a.m., it's not necessarily
hard work.
Yeah, exactly. So whatever it might be, whether it's on work nights and again, when it comes to sleep, just like we were talking about before in terms of our immune system, there's a whole range of things that we can do before we even contemplate a product like this. It's best to be in a cool room. You might like a warm room, you'll sleep better in a cool room. Eliminate all sources of light in your room, all sources of light. You shouldn't be reading a screen nearby, whether it's your phone or some kind of an electronic device. That blue light is going to be stimulating. So I read an old-fashioned book. There's always several books that I'm reading at one time that are right next to my bed. There's all sorts of things we could do. Caffeine, afternoon, not a good idea. And if you really struggle with sleep, caffeine at all, not a good idea. So it's called sleep hygiene, and you could go online and just do some research on sleep hygiene. And if that's all you gather from this presentation is to learn about and read about sleep hygiene, then it was great that you tuned in because that's really the key. And that's what folks who specialize in sleep, that's the first thing they evaluate and look at is sleep hygiene.
This is how we're looking after ourselves. We're making decisions that help us take full advantage of supporting our body, giving our body the things it needs. As Andrew said, it's diet, it's quality of sleep, it's relaxation. It's a full kind of viewpoint on what we can do to look after what we're in control of.
Right.
Last but by no means least, before we get to our today's special launches.
We're in our world, we're in control of everything.
Yes.
I think that's what we need to understand. In our world, we are in control of everything. If we immerse ourselves too much in the internet and TV, we're watching an entire world that is just, you can't help but get anxious.
Right.
And why do we get anxious? Because it's scary out there and we can't do anything to change it.
Right.
The only thing we can change is our own world. And that's, I think, an important thing to remember, that the things that we can change, hopefully we change them. And what is it? I guess it's the AA prayer. You change the things you can, you accept the things you can't, and something about having the courage, the wisdom to know the difference. The courage to change the things you can and the wisdom to know the difference.
Rick, our producer, saying that's it.
Yes.
He knows it all too well.
So, and I think maybe we're all addicted to the internet or whatever it might be, and news and things like that. So maybe we have to remind ourselves a little bit of that prayer. So
it's a good thing to do for sure. And this last item, again, hardly ever on television. It is a customer pick. We have 30 through 240 capsules. The phosphatidylserine, Andrew?
Phosphatidylserine is, you could say it either way, but phosphatidylserine, it's a phospholipid. Serine is actually an amino acid.
Okay.
So it's a specific kind of phospholipid. You've heard me talk about phosphatidylcholine, which is incredibly important to the liver and the brain.
Yep.
Phosphatidylserine is specifically important to the brain. Phosphatidylserine is very important to how we respond and react to stress. So it's a product that we normally don't talk about. I was asked if I could mention it tonight and make sure that we had it on extra special pricing, which we do. And by the way, everything all our products are on extra special pricing, whatever you might be interested in. I won't be talking about it, but of course our immune factors is available and our vitamin C is available. I apologize for not talking about them, but I think it's better that I not talk about them at this time. If you want them, they're available.
It's good to know and it's important to know. And I invite you to always go online, hsn.com, type in keywords vitamins or Andrew Lessman, and you'll see Andrew's full assortment, including, of course, immune factors and vitamin C. The Phosphatidylserine Serene is available tonight. So the 30 cap, 60, 120 or 240. This is where the pricing normally is. That's what the pricing is today. Please note, we have flex pay available on everything. Get what you want now, pay over time.
It's a very expensive ingredient, and our original phosphatidylserine product was 100 milligrams. Actually, if we went back further, it was 50 milligrams.
Wow.
So this is 200 milligrams. It's significantly higher potency. And sort of as the cost got a little bit better, we were able to increase the potency because I wanted to keep it affordable, but I wanted to keep it effective. And phosphatidylserine, that's what we really focus on, is our body's reaction to stress. And we want to do our very best. How we process the information around us, some people will, just shrug it off, others not. So how we process it determines how our body has to respond to it. And if we don't react adversely to stress, that's better